Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So now we have come to the end of this chapter, genealogical table of the daughters of Manu. We are speaking of Swayambhuva Manu, who is a great Prajapati. He is given the task of populating this world by his father, Lord Brahma. So Swayambhuva Manu and his wife Shatarupa, they beget 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls. Among them, one of them, Devahuti, in detail we had seen earlier. And then we see here how the other daughter, Akuti and Prasuti, their children, in these final verses we find about how the 13 daughters, totally 16 daughters she had, out of them 13 daughters, they were given to Dharma. And one of them, Dharma, through one of his wife, Murti, they gave birth to Naranarayana Rishi. That we have seen earlier. And the next one, 14th daughter, she was offered to Agni. That's what we see in this portion of the Bhagavatam. Agni, through his wife, Swaha, he begets 3 children. And their names are Pavaka, Pavamana and Shuchi. And these 3 children, in turn, they get married and they beget totally 45 children. So, this verse says, these 49 fire gods are the beneficiaries of the oblations offered in the Vedic sacrificial fire by impersonalist Brahmanas. So how the number came 49 is that total 49 fire gods are there. Grandfather, children and grandchildren all put together. The grandfather is Agni, his 3 children, Pavamana, Pavaka and Shuchi. How many? 48. 1 plus 3, 4. And they in turn begot grandchildren 45. So numbering to 49. So all these 49 fire gods, they are the beneficiaries of the oblations offered in the Vedic sacrificial fire. So whatever as Swaha, everything is offered in the sacrificial fire, they are the first recipients of that, and later they in turn, part it with other devatas. So these are the 49 primary fire gods. So this is about the 14th daughter. And next it is spoken of the 15th daughter. Her name was Swadha. She was being offered to the residents of Pitruloka. And who are they? Agnishwatas, Barhishadas, Saumyas and Ajapas. So through them, Swadha, she begets 2 daughters named Vayuna and Dharini. And these 2 daughters are very expert in transcendental and Vedic knowledge. But they were impersonalists. Impersonalist, Brahmavadinaha. So this is about the 15th daughter, Swadha. And the last daughter, who is that? Sati. Last daughter is Sati. And Sati is married to Lord Shiva. So what happens? Actually, Daksha Prajapati is getting his daughters married to various personalities so that they also beget children and expand, populate this world, expand the progeny. That was the purpose. But here, in the end of this chapter, it is said, everyone, they had got children, grandchildren, and they expanded their family. But Sati couldn't do this. She did not beget any children. What is the reason? Yes, she gave up her life at a young age before begetting any children. So here we see, in summary, why did she give up her life? Sati voluntarily gave up her life. Yes, because her father Daksha was always criticizing Lord Shiva. It is said here, Shiva is Anagase, he is faultless. Lord Shiva, he is faultless. In spite of that, in spite of Lord Shiva being faultless, Daksha Prajapati always used to criticize. Whenever he saw his daughter Sati, he used to criticize her husband. Daksha, he is a Prajapati, he is a great king with all opulence, royalty, education and all of these things, very aristocratic. But Mother Sati, she is married to Lord Shiva, who externally appears to be opposite of all of these royal, aristocratic, opulent, neat and clean, wearing opulent dresses, jewelry, helmet, none of these things. On the contrary, it is explained in the Bhagavatam that Lord Shiva, he lives in filthy places like crematoriums, smashana. Lord Shiva, in such filthy places he lives. So Daksha was not liking that. He lives in crematorium. Nobody likes to stay in crematorium. Anybody likes? Nobody likes. If at all some death happens, we go take the dead body and bury them or burn them and come back. And after coming back also we wash our feet, take bath and then come inside. So all these things, nobody likes to go there, or especially staying there in crematorium, nobody likes. But Lord Shiva, he stays in such places. And then, who are the companions of Lord Shiva? Ghosts and demons. Ghosts, hobgoblins, spirits, demons. They are the associates of Lord Shiva. That's why Daksha is not liking that. Daksha is a very big king, and all surrounding him are aristocratic men. And his son-in-law, Lord Shiva, his associates are all ghosts and spirits and such category. So he doesn't like this. And then it is said, Lord Shiva, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying, sometimes he's naked like a madman. He's completely in trance. We sing that song, Narada Muni Bhajaya Veena Radhika Ramana Name. In that song, Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Panchavadana Narade Dhori Premera Saghana Rol Kamalasana Nachiya Bole Bolo Bolo Hari Bol. Panchavadana means referring to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, when he hears the holy names of the Supreme Lord, he becomes very ecstatic. And in that condition, he sometimes laughs, he sometimes cries, he is sometimes negligent of his external body, and sometimes very little or no clothes on his body, just like a madman, he appears. So Daksha doesn't like this. And then it is said, he smears crematorium ashes all over his body. Ashes, he applies throughout his body. He does not bathe regularly. He ornaments his body. See, Lord Shiva also wears some ornaments on his body. What are those ornaments? Snake, serpent, and then skull, bones. He ornaments his body with garland of skulls and bones. We don't like to touch those things also, see such things also. But Lord Shiva is wearing those things on his body like a garland. And thus, he is very dear to crazy beings in the gross mode of ignorance. And he is their leader. He is the leader of all ghosts, spirits, such categories of living entities. So, Daksha is not liking Lord Shiva. See, anyone we see with such characteristics, usually it's our tendency, right, to criticize. Especially in educational institutions, colleges, schools, it happens. Some children with some deformities or with some inabilities or something abnormal, we tend to point out those things and criticize them, name them and tease them, whatever comedy against whatever we perform on them. So that's what Daksha is also doing. See your husband, Lord Shiva, such a husband you have selected. He stays in crematorium, wears ashes throughout his body, wearing skulls and bones, and see who are all his friends, associates. See, such criticism is done upon Lord Shiva. But we need to understand, who is Lord Shiva? What is his position? How he is such an exalted devotee of the Supreme Lord? We need to understand through the pages of Bhagavatam. It is said how? Yes, Lord Shiva, he stays in such places. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions here, where does Shiva reside? Lord Shiva, being the head of all mystic yogis, never even constructed a home for his residence. He doesn't have a home also properly for his residence. So that shows how detached he is. Bare minimum requirement. Voluntarily taking up austerities, tapasya, which is very helpful for focusing the mind on the Supreme Lord. So he doesn't care for even constructing a residence for himself. So where there is no disturbing, crematorium, no disturbance. In other places, lot of disturbances will be there. So he goes there and sits for meditation on the Supreme Lord, chants the holy name of Lord Rama. He meditates on the name of Rama. So this is Lord Shiva. and his companions, the ghosts and such demons and low creatures. That's the magnanimity of Lord Shiva. Nobody likes to go towards them. They are like considered to be rejected. Nobody likes to be with all the living entities in the mode of ignorance, ghosts, spirits, evils, and hobgoblins and demons. But Lord Shiva, being very compassionate towards such fallen creatures, he goes to such places where they are. And by Lord Shiva's association, they also get a chance to be elevated. That is the magnanimity of Lord Shiva. Compassionate nature of Lord Shiva to elevate such category of living entities who are completely downtrodden in the mode of ignorance, rejected. Lord Shiva wants to uplift them. See, this is the glory of Lord Shiva. In the Upadeshamrita, we find this verse written by Rupa Goswami. दृष्टैः स्वभावजनितैर्वपुषश्च दोषैर् न प्राकृतत्वमिह भक्तजनस्य पश्येत् गङ्गां वसां न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पङ्केर् ब्रह्मद्रवत्वमपगच्छति नीरधर्मैः. It is said there how a devotee of the Supreme Lord, though externally he may appear to be drishtai svabhava nijaniter vapushascha doshair, his vapu or his body externally, there may appear some like apparent like dosha, something not proper, not okay, something, there is some lacuna, defect is there, defective body or something like that. Externally it may appear like that for a devotee, great devotees. But in that sense, just looking at them externally, they should never be rejected or they should never be condemned. An example is given there. Which is that example? Example of Mother Ganga or the river Ganges. Gangam vasam nakhalu budbuda fena pankair. It is said how even in river Ganges there may appear sometimes bubbles and foam, especially during rainy season. It may appear muddy. Lot of mud is there, not very clean, crystal clear, lot of muddy water, lot of foam is there. Usually in dirty water foam will be there. So sometimes even river Ganges also we find, maybe sometime where there is a cascade or waterfall somewhere, there will be a lot of bubbles and all. Just because those things are there, do we come to the conclusion that river Ganges is, now it has become polluted, it is no longer fit for taking bath? No. In spite of all of these external appearance, that it appears to be muddy, appears to be with foam and lot of many bubbles are there, still river Ganges retains its purifying effect. Because river Ganga means what? It is the water which has flowed down, touching the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Anyone who comes in touch with it becomes purified, who bathes in it becomes purified, who drinks it becomes purified. Just because it is appearing to be dirty, it doesn't give up its purifying effect, its transcendental effect. Similarly, the body or the vapu of great devotees. Externally, they may appear, just like here in this case, we are seeing Lord Shiva appearing ashes throughout his body. skulls and bones and wearing almost nil or very little clothing and staying in crematorium associated with all the demons and ghosts and such low creatures. Externally he may appear like that, but still Lord Shiva, his name itself suggests Shiva means auspicious. He is all auspicious. His mind is always fixed on the Supreme Lord. He always chants the glories, the holy names of the Supreme Lord. So, just by his external features, we shouldn't come to the conclusion that he is something negligible or approach him neglectfully. No, he is such a great devotee. This is Lord Shiva. Now, let us try to understand how, in the case of our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada went to the Western world and he stayed there, and when he came back to India, there were many people, so-called Vedic followers or Brahmanas, who criticized even Srila Prabhupada that he is not following Varnashrama Dharma. Srila Prabhupada, crossed the borders and went abroad to the Lechad, countries, Western world, which are there where population is completely, they're all not up to the Vedic standards, lower than the Shudras, no following of regulative principles, unclean in habits. So Srila Prabhupada went there and gave them Daksha and made them Brahmanas, Dvija. He gave them the sacred thread. He gave them the authority or the power or he instructed them to install deities in temple and worship them. And he even gave initiation to women, and in many temples even women were worshipping the deities in the temples. All these things were considered not Vedic, but still Srila Prabhupada went there. Through his association, thousands and thousands of such, especially hippies, who were all addicted to all kinds of sinful activities, bad habits, meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling, their lives were filled with these things. And Srila Prabhupada elevated them by giving them his association. And there were many people who were criticizing this act of Prabhupada. So we should be fully clear and aware the position of such exalted personalities. And even many were telling how the devotees who came to India from the Western countries, they were telling, hey, these people may be spies. They have come from America to take information from our country and give it there. Like this, so many accusations, so many fault finding was done. But still, through the result of his activity, phalena parichiyate, we can see how so many people throughout the world, their lives were transformed. From all those sinful bad habits, they were able to give up all those things and were able to become pure Vaishnavas, devotees of the Supreme Lord. So, it is very important that we should not judge by the externals. And one more important thing we need to note here is that, as the Bhagavatam says, Acharyam mam vijaniya. The Acharya or the spiritual master has to be considered on the level of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. It may be great acharyas, devotees like Srila Prabhupada. It may be like Lord Shiva, whom we are discussing now. They are on the level of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. So we should be clear, they are not Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are on that platform. Through their loving devotional service, through their intimacy, through their oneness with the intent of the Supreme Lord, they are on equal level with the Supreme Lord. So it is said, Acharya mam vijaniyan navamanyeta karhichit na avamanyeta. At any point of time, they should never be criticized. They should never be avamanyeta, disrespected. No. Nabu martya buddhya asuyeta. We should never consider them martya buddhya. Martya, we are all like martya. Martya meaning mortals, conditioned living entities. We take birth, undergo all kinds of transformations, birth, death, old age, diseases, suffer like anything, and one fine day we die, and again based on our karma take up another body, and we are bounded in this cycle of birth and death. But great acharyas, pure devotees of the Lord, namartya buddhya asuyeta. Don't consider them as one of us. No. They are completely on a different platform. Sarva Deva Mayo Guruhu. The body of the spiritual master embodies all the 33 crore devatas. So this should be the perspective of a devotee towards the Acharya or towards great devotees like Lord Shiva also. So on the other hand, Prajapati Daksha, looking at the externals of Lord Shiva, he was criticizing him. But Mother Sati, being fully aware of the glory of her glorious husband Lord Shiva, she couldn't tolerate this. So she felt, this body is given by my father, and he is indulging in criticizing my husband, this great devotee Lord Shiva. This body is given by such a person, so let me give up this body. So in such consideration, Mother Sati gives up her body. And what happens to her father Daksha, who involved in criticizing Lord Shiva? So that is the subject matter of the next chapter. We'll be seeing from next class onwards. We'll end here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.